Hey guys, inside this plain brown box is a Joyforwa Android based head unit available on Amazon, and what makes it special is that it's a single DIN Android head unit with a 6.2-inch screen, and it has the amazing UAS 7862 8-core CPU. That's pretty much the fastest Android CPU you can get. 4 gigs of RAM, wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and a bunch of extra stuff which I'm going to show you now. If you haven't heard of Joyforwa before, you wouldn't be alone. In fact, I have never heard of Joyforwa before, and I'm normally pretty skeptical about head units that come in unbranded plain brown boxes. However, if you have a look at Joyforwa's Amazon storefront page, you'll notice that in actual fact it is Joying. Joying being one of the most prestigious brands in Android head units, making some of the most high quality products you can buy. It appears that they may have done some rebranding to call themselves Joyforwa. I don't really know the history on that, and I might have a look and see if I can find out why that is the case. But the point is, this Joyforwa is probably a Joying head unit, and that would make it a very, very good automatically. Now, I picked this particular head unit because it's a smaller form factor than the ones that I normally review, which are quite large. It's a single DIN, but it only has a 6.2-inch display with a physical volume knob as well, which is nice. And because it's Joying, aside from the fact that you get all the good hardware like the 7862 chip and 4 gigabytes of RAM, you also get a really good amplifier, you get a really good DSP, you also get things like the digital optical output, and you get wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay and all of that good stuff as well. Now remember, I don't get paid to endorse any company or products, including this Joyforwa or Joying. So this video is more about me kind of experiencing it, playing with it on camera, so that you guys can have an idea of what it's like. I'll leave a link in the video description of where you can get it from. Okay, let's do it now. And here it is. This is the Joyforwa 6.2-inch with a physical volume knob, which is very, very nice indeed. And the size is interesting because obviously it's bigger than a single DIN, but it's not as big as a double DIN. For example, this is a double DIN, and as you can see, it is taller and bigger in general. So this is quite unobtrusive, and it should fit into cars with limited space, and of course cars which only have a single DIN entry point. So on the front here you have this lovely big physical volume knob. You have a capacitive touch button up here for home, and a navigation capacitive touch button down here as well. You have your microphone and reset button holes down the bottom here, and then you can see the size of the screen just on here as well. And the design of it is just absolutely lovely, including this little chrome feature around the volume knob, which is very nice indeed. Now if we flip it around, you can see more callbacks to Joying the brand, because this is exactly how they are in Joying as well. So what we have is the main connection point, which goes to the main single DIN unit, and then we have the clips which actually hold it onto the single DIN unit as well. And what you're probably going to notice on this unit is the fact that it has these holes all the way along the left and right sides. And this is amazing for positioning, because you can actually move these mounting clips down or up so that you can position them perfectly on your dashboard for how you need it, if it needs to be a little bit further up or a little bit further down. So that's awesome. Right, let's have a look at the main unit itself. So on the front here you have these 4 clips for mounting the face, and of course the ribbon cable to plug it in, and that's pretty much it. You'll notice it actually comes with this cage so that you can easily fit it into a single DIN environment, which is fantastic. And then if we have a look at the back, you can see where all the action happens. This thing here is where you actually fit in your 4G SIM card if you're going to give it a permanent data connection. These wires here are what you'd use if you want to use advanced CAN bus integration. You've got an SMA connection here for the GPS antenna. This is the main loom entry point here. 2 SMAs for 4G connectivity. Then these first 3 here are analog video and audio inputs. So you've got video in and then left and right audio inputs here. This one here in the center is a SPDIF coax digital output. Again, really amazing that it gives you that. Remember, that's going to give you a digital connection out to an amplifier if it has a digital input. So you're going to avoid all the noise, electrical interference that you normally get through copper cables if you use digital connections, and it does actually have coax SPDIF digital output, and over here it has the optical digital output as well, so you actually have twin digital audio out connections, which is awesome. The last connector over here is for the subwoofer output, and then you have 4 other RCA pre-outs as well. So you've got 5 RCA pre-outs, front left, front right, rear left, rear right, and subwoofer, as you normally do with the Joying units. Then you have a couple of USBs here, you got your mic input here, and the hole for the antenna for the FM radio. So as you can see, this thing is absolutely jam-packed with lots of connections, including the digital ones that you only get on premium units. This is going to be awesome. Also in the box you get 2 USB extensions, 2 4G antennas, an ISO main loom connection, an external microphone, and 2 spare clips in case you break them, and I have historically broken them, so it's good that they give you those. Some manuals, a GPS antenna, and that's pretty much it. Right, normally I'd install this in a car, but because it's a single DIN, it's going to look stupid if I install it in the car. So I'm actually going to install it in the jukebox test station here in the studio, and then we'll have a play here in the studio. Right, let's do that now. So if you are new to my channel, let me introduce you to the jukebox test station. Effectively what this thing is a jukebox which has been modified to test Android based head units, or really any head unit. Pressing the power button here is the same as turning the ignition on in the car. So let's do that now and see how long it takes to boot up. Okay, powered by Android. Okay, and now it's going into Spotify, which must have been the last thing that I was using. So as you can see, that took quite a bit of time, but that was a cold boot. So if we turn the ignition off on the car and then switch it back on again, you can see it's an instant boot time. But what that basically means is if you leave your car overnight and get back in the following morning, it should instantly come on. But if you were to leave your car for multiple days, it will completely shut down to save power, and that will create a slightly longer time period for booting it up. So let's talk about the look and feel of the device. Now, as I've already told you, the way that it's been designed is rather beautiful, with its black gloss and the shiny silver bezel around the edge. And then of course you've got this physical volume knob, which also has a chrome trim on it as well. Now from the physical aspect, it is a very beautiful device. You can clearly see that the contrast ratio isn't up there with the QLED screen, but it's still very easy to read everything that's on the screen. Everything is sharp enough to be pleasing to the eye. So other than that, it's fine. So let's talk about the launcher software. You have 2 widgets up here. On the left hand side you have the weather, and on the right hand side you have a local music playback widget. Now these widgets are actually widgets which you can actually remove if you do not want. So if I didn't want the local music, I could get rid of it, go into the apps, keep swiping until I find the Spotify widget. I can chuck that there instead. And now I actually have something that I can use. I have a Spotify widget which will connect to Spotify, which is installed on this actual head unit. That's fantastic. It means that you can completely personalize this head unit however you want. If you want to have music visualizations instead of the weather, you can go ahead and do that as well. I love that. That is really, really nice to have completely customizable Android launcher software. Below these 2 widgets, you have a line of apps which are completely interchangeable. For example, if I didn't want to have settings here, I could get rid of that, and instead I can put Spotify there. So you can completely customize those to whatever you want. Now these down here are also customizable. You can remove them or add something else if you want to, adding to the full customizability of the launcher software on this Joying head unit, which is awesome. So let's have a look at the radio. I want to tune something in. Okay, so now that we've tuned the radio station in, we can just push and hold one of these, and as you can see it says BBC Radio 2, and it shows it up here as well. So we do actually have RDS with the Joying radio software, which is awesome. The software also gives you 6 different presets, so you can save all of your radio stations into those presets as well. So let's have a look at the settings of this Joyforwa system. So we pull down from the top, go into the settings here, and as you can see, it is the standard Joying menu system, and this is really, really intuitive and easy to use. And what you guys like to know about these particular units is how integratable they are into your car. So if we go into general and we scroll down and we find lantern settings, at the moment you can see that these buttons are glowing and they're changing colors, but if you just wanted green, you could just hit the green button up here, and then that will make them static green, and it basically allows you to match the interior lighting color of your car to make it nice and integrated. Staying in general, under lantern settings we have steering wheel settings, and in here you will see that you have the ability to manually configure your steering wheel buttons and tell the head unit which action the buttons on your steering wheel should do. And this is always very easy with the Joyforwa joying head units. There are plenty of other settings on here. Pretty much everything that you're looking for you will find in here, and it's all very intuitive and easy to use. I love the joying settings, so this is really good. Okay, let's talk about the speed of the Joyforwa unit. So as you can see, it has the UIS 7862A CPU. That is the fastest Android head unit CPU that money can buy. It's in all of the quickest ones that I've tested, so that's going to tell us that it's going to be really fast. And you've got 4 GB of memory. Also on this screen you can see that the set screen resolution is 800 by 480, 480 lines of vertical resolution. So you can see how this screen differs quite a lot from the 600p or the 720p or the 1080p. Still fairly sharp because it's a smaller screen. They can get away with having a smaller amount of lines, but it is a little bit disappointing that we don't have a higher resolution screen. Anyway, I digress. Let's do the speed test that we normally do. We'll see how long it takes for Spotify and how long it takes for Waze to boot up on this head unit. Let's start with Spotify. Yeah, practically instantaneous, very quick boot time, couple of seconds, and that goes hand in hand with the fact that it has that UIS 7862A CPU. Really fast CPU. Okay, let's try Waze. Yeah, again, almost instantaneous, really fast CPU as usual. So absolutely nothing wrong with the speed of this head unit. If you get this, it is literally one of the fastest head units that money can buy. Okay, so let's talk about the features of the Joyforwa head unit. It does have all the normal stuff that you get with an Android head unit. So for example, you can install Netflix and watch Netflix to your heart's content. You can watch YouTube videos to your heart's content as well. It has all of that good stuff built in, ready to go. So you can install whatever video apps you want, really. On top of all of that, it's compatible with a magnitude of accessories such as tire pressure monitoring systems, an OBD2 reader to get engine data, DAB radio, dash camera DVRs, reverse cameras, basically anything that you could possibly want to include with this head unit. Joyforwa has it, and you can plug it in and it's going to work. This is a really comprehensive way of upgrading your car to all the latest features. Now, 2 of the features that a lot of you are going to be interested in are Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So let's test them now. So on my iPhone here, I'm going to go to settings, I'm going to go to Bluetooth. There we go, JY Android, joying Android. Let's connect to that. Connected, it says. And you can see it's connected on the screen here as well. So now I'm going to go to CarLink 2.0. Waiting for the devices to connect. Connecting, verification approved. My iPhone is asking for use with CarPlay, so I'm going to allow that. And there we go, we've got full Apple CarPlay. It actually looks really nice on this screen as well. Nice big vivid icons. And with the split screen you have your map here and your music here, and obviously you can tap this and have your big map up here. So yeah, so Apple CarPlay looks really good on this device, and that's completely wireless, no wires connected at all, so you have full wireless Apple CarPlay. Right, let's try Android Auto. So again, on the Android device we go into Bluetooth and we're going to connect to JY Android, and then we go to CarLink 2.0, connecting. And there we go, and this is the new version of Android Auto as well, which looks very pretty, very similar in fact to Apple CarPlay that we just saw. So we hit this, we can see all of the apps that are currently installed on my phone which are compatible with Android Auto. And if we go into the maps, looks really good, no lag whatsoever, and also audio as well. Looks really good. So wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay working perfectly well. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is sound quality. Is this Joyforwa device going to have good sound? Well, it's a joying device, so it should do, but let me show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the settings, into device, and then sound. In here, this is where you're going to find power conditioning. That is where you can alter the amplifier on this device sort of to match your car's factory amplifier. So if this is too loud, for example, it might cause a hiss to come through your speakers. If you don't want to do that, you can reduce the power conditioning. And it's the same if it's too quiet. on your car's amplifier, you can increase the volume under power conditioning here. That's a really useful thing to have. You've got separate subwoofer controls, which include frequency controls, frequency cutoffs as well, just specifically for the subwoofer, including the actual subwoofer volume. The ability to turn on and off external amplifier is here. Loud mode is also here if you're wondering what loud mode is. It was designed specifically to boost the frequency settings of your equalizer for lower volumes, but ultimately you should be tuning your head unit in not to use loud mode. What you should be doing is using the equalizer, which is here. Now this has a 16 band graphic equalizer, as you can see here, and you can easily modify this to your heart's content however you want. Although if you don't want to mess about with it and do it yourself, you can actually use one of these, and this is going to set up the equalizer based on what preset that you choose. It does have a special ability as well. If you go into setup, you can independently adjust the front and rear speakers. So now this is just for the front speakers. If we slide, you can see this is just for the rear speakers. So if you have custom speakers in your car, or they're a little bit different in the front to the rear, you can actually adjust the equalizer settings specifically for the two fronts and rears. And that means that, for example, you can reduce the bass going to the rear speakers if it's causing an issue, but you can have the bass nice and strong in the front speakers. It does make a very big difference when you have the ability to control the front and the rear speakers separately. It does really give you that option to fine tune the sound in your car. And the second tab here is for surround sound, and this is what gives you the opportunity to adjust the delays to each individual speaker in your car to just get that sound just right to how you want it. Next is bass enhancement, and that gives you the opportunity of enhancing the bass in the front and rear speakers separately. Field is your standard fade and balance, and bass filter gives you the ability to control the frequency cutoff of both your front and rear speakers independently. So that's really, really good as well. So the question you're going to ask me now is, how does it sound? It sounds amazing. The amplifier and the DSP mixture that they have in these head units is absolutely spectacular. It is one of the best sounding head units that you can buy. Anything created by Joying or Joyforwa, as the case may be, is excellent from a sound perspective, because they really do put decent quality components in from an amplifier and DSP perspective. And this one sounds amazing. You can really tune it to exactly how you want it. It works in any environment, any car. These are some of the best sounding head units that money can buy. And that's pretty much it for this head unit. If I've missed anything, pop a comment in the section below and I'll see if I can get to it for you. If there's any other head units that you'd like me to have a look at before you purchase it, just let me know and I'll see if I can do a video for you. And if you like this kind of content, please do subscribe to my channel, because there'll be a lot more stuff coming up.